What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to yet another episode of Clement, the Transparent. That's right, in this video, I'm going to be revealing the exact salary or total compensation that I made over the last 6 years from 3 different sources of income. Number 1, from my full-time software engineering job at Google and Facebook. Number 2, from my job or role as an entrepreneur and as the CEO and co-founder of my company, AlgoExpert. By the way, if you're a software engineer preparing for technical interviews, do check out my company, AlgoExpert. Go to algoexpert.io and use the promo code CLEM, CLEM, for a discount on the platform. And number 3, from this YouTube channel that you are watching right now. Now, if you could please do me a favor and preemptively smash the like button on this video, I would really appreciate it. Not that many people make these kinds of videos, especially as transparently as I'm going to be making this one. For whatever reason, these topics around money, income, net worth, personal finance, they're a little bit taboo, even though everybody loves them. Like, I know that I love these kinds of videos. Whenever somebody else does a video on, how much money they made or their net worth or things like that, I'm always super curious. I find it entertaining, informative, sometimes motivational if I aspire to be like the person. So if you're aspiring to be a software engineer or an entrepreneur, perhaps you're going to find this video inspirational. But if you're someone who's going to get angry at this type of video, who's going to think that this video is some flex or something, which it's not, then please just leave right now. No need to waste your time. With that, let's jump into the very first year of this journey back in 2017. 2017 was the first year of my career, the first time that I ever had a real job. I had some small jobs as a teenager in college, summer camp counselor type of thing. But in 2017, I started working full-time as a software engineer at Google. Now, fun fact, at the beginning of 2017, I actually had a negative net worth because I had no money to my name and I had about $30,000 worth of student loan debts. Anyway, I started working at Google on May 1st and worked the entire year, so exactly 8 months. And during those 8 months at Google, I made roughly $84,000. Now, to be clear, this $84,000, this is not my first year salary at Google. No, this is the amount of money that I made from Google in the calendar year 2017. And I happened to work 8 months at Google. So this includes base salary, it includes bonuses, stock-based compensation, although I don't think that I actually got any stock during those first 8 months, and I don't think I got a bonus in the first 8 months. I got it in January of the following year, but still you get the idea. This is basically my taxable income. Although again, there's a bit of a caveat here. Part of that $84,000 was a 401k match from Google, which is not taxed, but you get the idea. This is all the money that I pocketed from Google in 2017. Moving on to my second source of income, AlgoExpert, which, believe it or not, I started working on a few months before I joined Google. So in 2017, AlgoExpert was very much in its infancy, and I did not make any money from AlgoExpert in 2017. In fact, I was actually able to declare a small loss from the business of $1,000. So $1,000 loss, and then I had 0 YouTube income in 2017 because I didn't have a YouTube channel back then. That brings my total compensation for 2017 to $83,000, and this does not include any sort of capital gains or losses, any other investment income, or any other income. These are the only 3 sources of income that we will be covering in this video. Moving on to 2018, fun fact about 2018, it's actually the only year of my entire life where for the full 12 months of the calendar year, I was employed by an employer other than myself, because as you'll see, I quit my job at Google and Facebook mid-2019, or I didn't work the full 12 months. So 2018, I made from Google, I was 12 months at Google, $216,000. Now, this includes my first year bonus. The bonus for the first 8 months was given to me, I think, in January of 2018. Then I started to get some Google stock compensation in 2018. Then I had a salary increase at the beginning of the year. I also had a promotion near the end of the year. So there were a lot of things that were kind of lumped into this $216,000 sum. That is how much I made from my software engineering job. From AlgoExpert, I was able to pay myself a modest $15,000. So the business was no longer at a loss in the year 2018, but it was still very much a side project or a side business. Granted, we were treating it as a full-time endeavor. We were pouring tons of work into it, but financially speaking, It was very much a side gig. And YouTube was again zero that year because I did not have a YouTube channel at the time. Total compensation for 2018, $232,000. By the way, if you haven't gotten the gist by now, I'm rounding all these figures to the nearest thousand because it just simplifies things. So now let's move on to 2019. That was probably the most pivotal year for me because that is the year that not only did I switch jobs from Google to Facebook or switch companies, but I also then quit my full-time jobs as software engineers at Google and Facebook to pursue Algo Expert full-time. The exact timeline of events was the following. I worked at Google for 6 months and 8 days, I believe, until July 8th, 2019. Then I quit. I took a 2-month break during which I started my YouTube channel. And then on September 1st, I started my job as a software engineer at Facebook, stayed there for only 2 months and 8 days until November 8th, I believe, at which point I quit and went full-time on Algo Expert. So I spent about 8 months and a half working as a software engineer that year, and I made from both of those software engineering gigs combined $204,000. So once again, this includes, base salary, it includes stock-based compensation that I was definitely getting at that point at Google, salary increases, bonus for the previous year at Google that was given to me, I think, in January 2019, and then it includes a small portion of the sign-on bonus that I got at Facebook. I remember I got a $75,000 sign-on bonus at Facebook. I had to give back most of it, on a prorated basis for the first year. So I think I gave back $60,000 worth of it or something. And I didn't get any stock from Facebook because I didn't stay there enough. But so the totality of the compensation was $204,000. You can clearly see the upwards trajectory because that's almost the same as the 2018 compensation, yet I only worked 8.5 months there, and I had to give back all this sign-on bonus. Had I stayed the full year, it would have likely been quite a bit higher than the 2018 figure for software engineering. Now, this year from Algo Expert, I was able to pay myself $176,000. You'll notice that not only is this way bigger than the previous year, where I was only able to pay myself $15,000 from Algo Expert, but it was also a figure that was starting to be comparable to my software engineering compensation. It wasn't quite there yet, but it was in the same ballpark, certainly enough to make a living, and it was close enough to where we said we have to pursue this full-time. And the finances were not the only trigger to pursue it full-time. There was also the fact that we just had tons of work and tons of growth potential for the company that was becoming apparent, especially in the second half of the year. By the way, it's really during the second half of 2019 that most of this income kind of was generated. But that's what happened with Algo Expert that year. And then I also started my YouTube channel that year. Like I said, right around the middle of the year, July 10th, I think was my first video. I think I started monetizing 1 or 2 months later. And by the end of the year, I had made about $20,000 from YouTube. And to be clear, that was purely from advertising revenue on YouTube. No sponsorships, nothing else. This brought my 2019 total compensation right around $400,000. Moving on to 2020. 2020 was another very pivotal year because that was the year that Algo Expert really blew up. That's the year where we worked our butts off day and night to really turn this product that we had into a legitimate business, a legitimate company. We added tons of stuff to the platform. We launched Systems Expert for systems design interviews. We launched behavioral interview prep, mock interviews. We added tons of questions to the platform, data structure, crash course. We redid the workspace on the platform, so many different things. And that year, I was able to pay myself $1,076,000 from Algo Expert. I remember I was very, very proud and happy at the end of the year when that happened. Also, midway through the year, around August 2020, I remember I broke the $1 million net worth milestone, and I made a video about it on YouTube. Some of you might have seen it. I was also quite happy when I broke that milestone. I was 25 at the time. And yeah, that was just a lot of milestones that year. And then YouTube, at the end of the year, I had made $64,000 from YouTube in 2020. That was purely ad revenue again. To be honest, I've never taken any outside sponsorships on YouTube. I may change that. I feel like it might be time for me to start making extra money from YouTube. But so far, and throughout all these figures, I never did any sponsorships, no merch, no nothing, just YouTube ad revenue. So $64,000. And so my total compensation for 2020 was $1,139,000. 2021, this was another very important year for AlgoExpert. During that year, we really expanded our product offering a lot. We launched 3 different products: ML Expert, Front-End Expert, Programming Expert. This was also a year that was generally very good for everybody, I feel like. The stock market was booming. The crypto markets were going to the moon. Tech was doing fantastic. Everybody wanted to be a software engineer. Everybody was hiring. Everybody was making tons of money as a software engineer. It was just a great year all around, and I was able to pay myself $1,469,000 from AlgoExpert, and then from YouTube, I made $69,000. So YouTube didn't really grow at all in 2021 from 2020. And, if you look proportionally from 2020 to 2019, also didn't really grow. And, spoiler alert, it didn't really grow in 2022, but it was still this sort of like consistent stream of income that, again, I could have chosen to improve had I taken outside sponsorships and done things like merch and all that. My total compensation for 2021 was $1,538,000, and this brings us to the final year, 2022. 2022 was a bit of a different year. It was still a very good year, but it was a year where I was really able to reap the fruits of my labor in the sense of I didn't have to work nearly as much as the previous years. Like, I kid you not when I tell you that 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020 were brutal years. They were years where it was just like nonstop working, garbage sleep. I probably did a lot of damage to my health that I'm not super happy about, in hindsight, and even in the moment I wasn't thrilled about it. But I made a lot of sacrifices to really just only focus on work, only prioritize work above all else. Everything else in my life, including my mental health and my fun and everything. And then 2021 was, this sort of like stabilization year, and 2022 is when I kind of took the foot off the acceleration pedal. I started enjoying my life a little bit more, relaxing a little bit more, and in 2022 I was able to pay myself $1,650,000 from AlgoExpert. So still going up, and then from YouTube, again, that flatlining at $66,000, bringing my total compensation for 2022 to $1,715,000. And so that wraps up these last 6 years of my career and life, really. It's funny because when I look at these figures laid out like this in a sort of historical fashion, I get reminded of all the sort of milestones and things that I went through these last few years, a lot of which have kind of become distant that I haven't really thought about, but just kind of cool to see where I was, where I grew, or how I grew, and where I am now. I've learned a lot along these years. I've learned a lot about money, by the way, and a lot about my relationship with money, and the hedonic treadmill, hedonic adaptation, this concept of the more you make, the more you want. Any new sort of milestone or threshold becomes the new norm and you're no longer happy with it. And I've certainly felt that. And I'm also partly trying to tame that, but also partly just trying to keep climbing and keep growing and everything. I'm very hopeful about the future. On the other hand, I will say 2023 is looking like it might be a bit more of a turbulent year. It's no secret that, the tech industry is not going through a good year right now. It's going through a very tough time, and I would be lying if I said that, we weren't feeling it a little bit. We'll see how the second half of 2023 goes. But yes, I'm very hopeful about the future, and I hope that this video was, like I said at the beginning, either entertaining, informational, motivational, all of the above. If it was, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share the video with someone that you think might enjoy it. Don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter if you enjoy short form written content, Instagram if you like pictures and if you want to see my sort of everyday life, and otherwise I will see you in the next video.